Hi, Matthew Schneider, here to walk through the corrective exercise continuum for Achilles tendinopathy, assuming a client has got permission to start on corrective exercise from their doctor, physical therapist. So, because last week I focused on the gastroc and the soleus, this week I'm going to integrate some different muscles associated with Achilles tendinopathy. I'm going to start with the inhibit phase. I'm going to use foam roll. We're going to focus on the peroneals and focus on trigger point releases for these muscles, which help stabilize the ankle. So we have here, we have a trigger point, and then distally we have a trigger point on the lateral side of the leg. To foam roll, it's pretty simple. Foam roll, you're going to lay on your side. You're going to make sure you get good alignment. You're going to make sure our hips are in line. Bring the top leg over. And we're going to put weight on the lateral side of that lower leg. And we're going to find those adhesions. And we're going to hold for 30 seconds. You can add pressure. I find most people can add a little bit of pressure to these particular muscles without too much discomfort or pain. The other area is going to be the hamstring complex. For a whole host of reasons, the hamstrings tend to be overactive and long, so we're not going to lengthen them because research tells us with Achilles tendinopathy there is the propensity for the dysfunction to work its way up the kinetic chain and result in anterior pelvic tipping, which pulls on these hamstrings, which makes them really long, but they have the propensity for overactivity. So we want to inhibit them. And I don't like the textbook's version of inhibition with the foam roll because I find it just isn't an adequate release mechanism. I like to use the baseball or a lacrosse ball, and I like to use a chair for this. And it's pretty immediate, the difference between the foam roll and the chair. So there tends to be a handful of trigger points, and they're all distally located in the hamstring complex. There's about 4, I think, laterally on the posterior side, and then medially on the posterior side, about a hand's width up the hamstring complex. You're just going to have your client sit on the baseball, and they're going to kind of work their way into a trigger point. And if they're a runner, well, I guess basically anybody who sits in an office, runners particularly, I find, have significant trigger points here, and they can hold. They can make it an active release too by lengthening the hamstrings. You find a little bit deeper, and you can kind of work out some of those adhesions by doing that. Now, lengthening, we have to, with Achilles tendinopathy, we have to talk about the gastroc and the soleus. And we're going to steal from the therapy world, and we're going to use stairs because of the function of activity of daily living. Stair climbing is an essential component for rehabilitation and to get somebody back to their pre-injury state. I've just got a weight and a chair. We're going to focus on the gastroc and the soleus and progress this particular length. You can adjust the height a little bit depending on pain. We don't want to stretch through pain with lengthening because the Achilles tendon being damaged, we want to back away from anything that causes excess pain. We don't want to create more muscle or tendon damage, as the case is. So last week I showed the wall. This week I'm just going to show you the stairs. We're going to start with knee fully extended. Good neutral hips. You do this one leg at a time. The other leg is support. And just hold. And you may have to alter the height, like I said, if it's a real bad chronic case. Most athletes have a hard time even with this much range of motion because dorsiflexion is so limited. Our focus is increased dorsiflexion, so we're going to have to work into this. And then we're going to go into a flexed knee, and we're going to target that soleus, and again, making sure we've got good posture here. Now, what's interesting about Achilles tendinopathy is we want to inhibit and lengthen the gastroc and soleus, but research tells us that once we've increased the length of the muscles, we want to go back and we want to strengthen them because the damage has weakened the muscles. We need to go back and eccentrically load those muscles and get hypertrophy and strength back in those areas. It's a number one way in which we can reduce symptoms of pain in our clients. And we're going to use the same exact tools here. We're going to use stairs. We're going to turn this into an eccentric movement. In a progressive movement, we can add weights to our back. We can use backpacks. We can even use dumbbells, depending on your clients. But again, we want to start, and we want to start here and lengthen, and then up, and slowly down, and then up. So eccentric is really slow. And then again, we want to do this with a flexed knee as well. And again, we're encouraging dorsiflexion while at the same time we're strengthening that muscle. Now, we want to activate the glute max. We know that with Achilles tendonitis, tendinopathy, we get timing issues when our glute fires mid-stance during our gait cycle, and we get, and typically we see inhibited glute max in just about everybody, but being one of the largest muscles in the body, we want to reactivate and turn this muscle back on. So the best way to do this, I find, is a foam roll, stability ball, and a therapy band. I don't have therapy bands with me here, but we can isolate the glute max by inhibiting our ability to abduct at our knees. So we would tie a therapy band around our knees and limit our ability to abduct. So stability ball, we're going to sit on it. We're going to roll out. We're going to make sure that we've got a good neutral position and that we're actually engaging the glutes and we're not using our synergistic hamstring muscles. We're actually using those glutes. And we want to lower, and then we want to isometrically hold and then concentrically come back up. Because the glutes are a type 1 muscle fiber primarily, and because it's the biggest muscle in the body, once we've taught this to a client, we want to add weight, maybe have them hold a weight ball and really work that muscle for higher rep counts and under weight. Now to integrate, we want to put this all together. We want to incorporate ankle stability. We want to work on glute timing. The first activity I would have a client work on would be single leg stance. We could do this single leg, and we could do a star reach. The one I really like, because it activates the glute simultaneous with stabilizing distally at the ankle, is the reach. And nice and slow, back up. And this can progress into all different types of movements. And we can encourage the athlete to maintain that neutral pelvis, encourage them to use their glutes, maintain a flat back, make sure that toe, patella maintains alignment, and that they're not rolling medially or laterally on that ankle. Thank you.